Welcome to Mogul Mentality, the podcast where we explore the intersection of mindset and business. Join us as we delve into the minds of successful entrepreneurs, thought leaders, uncovering the habits, strategies, and mindsets that have allowed them to achieve greatness. Whether you're a seasoned business owner or just starting out, our conversations will inspire you to think big, take action, and cultivate the mindset of a mogul. So sit back, relax, and get ready to elevate your thinking with Mogul Mentality. Welcome to the Mogul Mentality podcast. Devin and Jesse here. We literally just spent 45 minutes having a rant about things that we want to share with you, and it went deep. Yes, there was some verbal exchanges, some explicits dropped. Maybe I'm not going to actually tell you that was the case, but maybe there were.
I will.
But we're going to open up and talk about living a purposeful life and dissecting what that really means. And I'm excited to be here with you, Devin. And it was funny at one point in our conversation, you were like, let's just turn on the record button and see where it takes us. And it was, the motivation, inspiration for this episode today.
Yes, absolutely. It's good to be back with you. Yes, the last 45 minutes has been helpful, has been energizing. It's been painful in a sense because you and I are realizing, okay, look at what we've done, what we've accomplished, but we're missing a few things. And, where could we be now had we started these types of plans or made these types of commitments years ago when we got started, or even 12 months ago. So it's all in the name of learning, in the name of growing, and becoming better, and learning from our mistakes and improving. So
100%.
Yeah,
dude, I'm gonna tell you where this all started. I was on a cruise, and as we went on this cruise, we jumped off this ship in Roatan, Honduras. And as you're walking through the port, they're directing you. You have to go through this gift shop that's serving a bunch of booze and, whatever. And then you have to go through this small little alleyway. There's fences. You can't go anywhere else. And what they do is they direct you into this big, giant, almost gymnasium type feel. And there are 10 rows on the left side and 10 rows on the right side. And in each row is a taxi, a vacation specialist. It is absolutely freaking nuts. And every one of them, the minute you cross this little white line, boom, just coming at you. And
yeah, it's a free for all, right?
Yeah, and they're not like in your face because they're stuck behind these little counters, but they are screaming all sorts of things. Like they're catcalling you, trying to get your attention. They're saying, like, oh, I'm the best, I'm the cheapest price. One guy's like, don't even come over here. Like, I don't even want your business. Just trying all sorts of different ways to get our attention. Dude, it was so overwhelming. For the first time in our lives, Amber and I looked at each other and we're like, this is what it feels like to be a celebrity.
Mm.
I was like, wow, this is kind of
Operate.
crazy.
Yeah.
It was nuts. And what I walked away after getting out of that was, if I am not 100% precise on what I want, someone else, something will pull me over, and I'll have to sit there and listen to the sales pitch, and I'll have to consciously decide whether or not that is what I want in the moment. But if I know exactly what I truly, truly want, then I don't have to worry about it. I can just ignore it unless it aligns with what I want. And it was that moment. It was Wednesday last week when our other episode was released. I'm sitting there in Roatan, and literally I was like, oh shit. Like, I get it now. And so Monday, this week, turned it all off, put my phone on do not disturb, and I started writing things out and trying to understand what it is I truly want. And what I noticed is that some of the actions of what I think and I say I want that really resonate with me, some of the actions don't even freaking align. I want a business that's focused on referral only in my real estate, and yet for whatever reason, I'm publishing weekly YouTube videos and blog articles on my website every single week, paying someone to do that. And as I realized it and started to draw the parallels, what was the purpose of these YouTube videos? My SOI, my sphere of influence isn't watching these videos. This is to go get cold outreach, but that doesn't align with the purpose and the mission of the business. That's 6 hours a week of my admin's time that I'm paying. Do I even need an admin? I don't know. And as I started, like, dissecting that, I realized that my life is not planned to the absolute detail. I'm just going off and making decisions based off of the moment. And even though you and I have talked about this for a year or more now, and we've gotten better and better and better, like, it finally hit me today. Like, the absolute details matter of what you want with your life and having a plan to get those details. What I think I want clearly is not the case because I'm not taking any actions or steps necessary to go get it. It's kind of a funeral for the old Jesse this week.
Yeah,
It's kinda crazy.
nice. Well, that's good. There's new birth and new opportunities with that, you know. Um, that's, I guess, something that I can relate to in a sense is a friend of ours encouraged my wife and I to write down a list of 20 things that we wanted recently. And he's like, give me a call back when you're done. And I was like, literally last night, I told Leslie, it's been like 2 weeks and I still haven't even finished the list of 20 things that I want. Like 20 things, that shouldn't be that hard. Like why am I subconsciously like putting that off? And I don't even know if I'm halfway done with that list. It's like, okay. I know, for example, Grant Cardone, he's like, he knows exactly what he wants. And he's got that list of his goals in his pocket to remind him constantly, you know, every single day, multiple times every single day, what it is he's doing, what he's focusing on, what's the purpose behind all of the action that he's taking. And it's like, okay, so I wake up, I go through these motions, but do I really truly know, like, is everything that I'm focusing on, all the action that I'm taking, is there really a lot of purpose or clarity behind all of that on what I'm doing? And if I'm being completely honest, it's, you know, I'm not 100% aligned and 100% clear on everything that I want or the outcomes that I want, or, you know, am I just going through the motions to make an income and help feed my family and pay the bills? Or, you know, or is there something else that's like, okay, I need to do this, this, and this because I want these things outside of just paying the bills and feeding my family and going on a vacation here and there, going somewhere fancy to eat out. Like there's got to be more, there's got to be a bigger picture here than just right now.
Dude, 100%. Like, I'm looking at it right now, and this is something you and I kinda laughed about, is Christmas is literally 12 days away,
Yeah.
and although it's easy to talk about having an abundance mindset, what's so interesting is we're not prepared. Like, we haven't had our gifts. We don't even know what our children really like. We took them to Walmart to get a bunch of pictures. Our kids don't even know what they want. There's everything from Batman to, like, freaking Furbies, right? Like, it's just this huge, like, idea. Our youngest child, he knows he wants Spider-Man. That's it, right? And it's made it really, really easy for us to shop for him because Spider-Man's the easiest thing, but our daughter, she's got all sorts of stuff, and I'm looking at her going, "Why do you want, like, a Batman toy? Like, you don't even know what Batman is," or, like, that's not something we talk about in our house, but she just got overwhelmed with all the options that she had. Very similar here. And going back to the Christmas situation, it's made shopping really difficult. It's made budgeting really difficult. We don't even know how much money's in our account realistically to go for Christmas. So we're allowing emotion to drive our Christmas, which I've looked at things like, Amber, you looked at a $56,000 ring. And I'm over there like, how could I make this work out of emotion? Because I know like that's what she wants. But I know damn well in the back of my mind, and I'm sorry for the language on this show. Like, I'm very passionate about this right now, but I know very well in the back of my mind that I don't have that money, but there's this weird unconscious thing bubbling up that it's like, "All right, well, just buy it. Just buy it and we'll figure it out."
Yeah.
Well, how many times am I gonna do that until I actually go bankrupt or until I can't figure it out anymore? And then You know, there's that next layer to it, right? So let's say I do buy this ring and I allow emotion to take control of the finances or the plan or lack thereof right now. Well, then I'm spending all this time trying to pay off this ring, and the energy that she has in the back of her mind, she knows we don't have that money. She doesn't know where it came from. She's stressing out, going, "Why are we making payments on this?" And I'm like, "Well, I got you this ring." So the energy exchange is worthless and pointless. And it becomes this ever ending cycle that moving forward, we finally get this ring paid off, but then there's another ring or another opportunity. And we're swiping the card again and starting all over, hoping that that next deal will come because we're not actually planning in advance what it is that we want or the goals. If we want that ring, fantastic, write it down. Let's create a plan to go get that ring. But I'm not thoroughly convinced in my mind that the things that I say I want sometimes are actually the things I want. And if that was the case, like your list of 20 things, if I did that exercise, in theory, I would want to write a plan on how to go get those 20 things that I truly want. But if I'm not even writing the plan on how to go get it or what to do, and I'm just buying it because, like, in that small little emotion of like, yes, do it, I'm not making the right decisions because it's not actually working towards the goals and the things that I say I really want.
Yeah. So all I can think about right now is I think it's Albert Einstein that said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. How many times do we do that to ourselves in life? Like, you know, we go do the exact same workouts and expect different results, but we've been going to the gym for how many years and not, beating the crap out of ourselves, but the results are not what we want, or
Yeah.
our diet's not tuned in, or again, like for example, with money, we've made pretty killer incomes for years, but now it's like, do we have anything to really show for these things? Like, I was hoping to have this, this, and this, and we have a lot of these things, but I don't really have, you know, I haven't checked all the boxes yet, or I've checked maybe some of the wrong boxes along the way. So
Mhm.
just interesting as it's easy to see it in other people's lives, but sometimes it takes it takes 12 days from Christmas and a super vulnerable, uh, honest conversation for Jesse and I to be like, oh, like we have a really good life, but at the same time, this isn't aligning with what we truly want, or the exactly maybe what we say we want. And so there's a lot of other outer sources that have maybe controlled the things that we've done, or the decisions that we've made over the years. And so it's like, okay, let's hone in, and let's, for example, you said, take that Jesse or that Devin, and maybe bury that one, and let's have a funeral, and let's start over, and start fresh, and like just new beginnings. It's refreshing.
Dude, I think it was Eric Thomas, the motivational speaker, was
Hmm.
like, "Just go dark for 30 days. Don't talk to anyone. Don't look at social media. Do all these things, and you'll come out of it like a different person."
Hmm.
I was like, "What does that even mean? Like, what going dark?" And on Monday, when I put my phone on do not disturb and I sat down and just had like I just wrote down, literally just papers everywhere, all over my desk, all over my room still, just wrote it all down. And in that 8-hour time block, I started to understand what he meant. And I started to understand the actual reason behind it. Going dark is to get right with you. You are your highest priority. It's not God, it's not your wife. You are the highest priority. And you make promises to those people, like God or your wife. You leverage your priority, which is you, to these people. And that's the collateral they hold on to in exchange for trust. God trusts you, your wife trusts you, whoever else you've leveraged your collateral to, they all trust you. But ultimately, your collateral is worthless unless you continue to work on the value. And so as I sat there and just looked through all that, I was just like, man, what a very interesting trip. Like, I know I learn a lot when I go on vacations. I was not expecting this much. And I'm talking like detailed plans. Like, I say I want to go on a cruise. Okay, what is the cruise? How much is it going to cost? Work backwards. How much do I need to save to actually go get that memory, that experience? So that in that moment, I'm not just saying, oh, let's just throw it on a credit card and figure it out. Right. I'm actually tempering my desires. I'm harnessing what I truly want and working towards it, which ultimately brings the most satisfaction for me as an individual, knowing that I accomplished it and not worrying. It's cool that you go on that cruise, but if it's going on a credit card and it's not a plan, it's just kind of like it is what it is, and you're like, "Oh, I'll figure it out." There's stress behind it. But to actually go and know that that money is gone for that specific purpose, for that moment, that's a whole different feeling.
Yeah,
So, that's my commitment, dude. I honestly at this point, I think that I'm cutting certain things out of my life and I literally am like I just need to start doing seminars where I just have people say $300, they leverage $300 and we just go sit for 8 hours, no phone, nothing and just write down. Like looking at it going if anyone else wants to do that with me, let's figure it out. Let's put it together and organize it because I literally need to just sit down 8 hours and just have someone ask questions, but don't give any insight and just let me figure out me. And
yeah,
if I have to pay thousands of dollars or $300, whatever it is to go do that, I am willing to go do it just to get away and know that I'm making that monetary investment myself. Because some people can't just sit there for 8 hours and actually give it their focus, but I'm realizing for me I can, but I may need to provide that as a way to help other people.
totally. No, that's huge value. Is yeah, how many of us just wake up and go through the motions that we've done for years, maybe even decades, and we get stuck in that rut, and we haven't seen outside of ourselves for a long time to
Yeah.
like adjust the sails along the way. So no, that's super powerful, and it's funny just how yeah, finding that clarity and just making time. Like sometimes lately, one of my favorite things has just been to go drive. Like especially with recently with the beautiful fall weather that we had and the leaves. One of my favorite things was to just go drive in my truck,
Mhm.
have zero music, and just sit and be able to think and drive through the mountains or drive through some of the some of the areas that I work in and just like find some clarity and find some peace that that is hard to find sometimes because we do that, there's that daily grind or that daily hustle and all that where it's just go 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 from the second we wake up to the second we crash every night. So being able to just put that aside and find some like clarity and just be in being still in that silence is incredibly powerful.
Before the show, I showed you my calendar, and just to kind of paint an image to the listener, there's really nothing on there. There's no time. If I truly want to do all the things that I say I want to do, and then factor in 2 hours an afternoon to work on the business, there's no time. And I started to understand, like, from looking at this, I've always called people and asked, and some people are like, "Yeah, let's just jump on a quick call. Let's jump on a quick call." They don't value their time.
Hmm.
I called one guy and he's like, "Yeah, give me $3,500." And I was like, "What?" And I didn't understand, like, why he was asking me for $3,500, and what I realized is the time I asked him to connect was booked already of something else that was a higher priority to him, and the only way you were going to take him away from his seat or that time block that he had was if you paid him something of financial value to make it worth his time, and I started to understand that. I was like, "Freak, like, that makes sense." Well, me as a normal person, if I truly wanted that, if I wanted 45 minutes of Grant Cardone's time and he wants to charge me $100,000, well, I better know what I freaking want from Grant Cardone before I just go pay it or say, I think I want that.
Yeah.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a cool story similar to that. a buddy of mine, I think, paid Grant Cardone like I think it was like 10 or 15 grand just, and it was like 15 to 20 minutes. I mean, it was for sure under half an hour of Grant's time on a deal that he had. He had $50,000 of non-refundable earnest money on this deal,
Yeah.
and he paid Grant Cardone like I don't know 10 or 15 grand for just a few minutes of his time to make sure like, hey, help me underwrite this deal. Uh, he ended up crushing it on that deal, but it's like he found value. And again, for some people, the 10 or 15 grand is going to push them away, but they might, some people may have just walked away from the deal and walked away from the 50 grand, but Grant Cardone helped him because he had his doubts. Clearly, if he was willing to pay Grant Cardone that much money to help him underwrite a deal, he had his doubts and he had his concerns about the uh, the profitability of that deal. But after sitting with Grant, he's like, I knew I had a home run, and he helped me realize that. He just helped me see it from a version that I couldn't see it, or an angle that I couldn't see first. So
With all the stuff that Grant's got going on in his life, Grant's not just doing a favor. Like, he would love to. I would love to do everyone a favor and help everyone. But at some point, Grant understood that this 10, 20 minutes of my time is taking away from X in my life that I need to be my highest and best self. So I better, if I'm going to bend, it's going to be because of some money.
yeah,
And, he just held true to his schedule. And so that's what I've been noticing with that was one of the biggest takeaways from Monday of just sitting down and realizing, like, okay, all the things that make me happy, like you mentioned driving your car in the mountains. Dude, when I had a McLaren, that's all I wanted to do. I never did it.
hmm,
Never once. And I started to realize, like, thinking of it, the reason why is because I was listening to all the other noise. I didn't time block that moment. That moment would have been an hour of my day, and I could have said, all right, I'm going to go. I'm going to do it. I'm going to feel it. But I didn't plan it. And then I allowed the day to make my schedule. And then when we sold it, that was one of my biggest regrets is never being able to take it through the fall mountains with that amazing handling and steering capacity.
hmm,
So I don't want to live a life with regrets. I want to live a life where I've been able to achieve everything. And I realize now more than ever, like, I've got to plan that. If
yeah,
I say I want it, I got to figure out where it's going. And if I say I want it and I don't figure it out, then I truly don't want it. And I have to be okay with living that's not what I truly want.
that's so funny you bring that up. This thought literally crossed my mind multiple times in just the last week. Is thinking back to the people that are on their deathbed and the regrets that they have. And I'm sitting here like telling myself, I would rather regret the things that I did in life versus the things that I didn't even try or even attempt to do. If I'm
Yeah.
gonna have regrets, I'd probably rather have regrets for things that I did versus things I didn't do.
Dude. Very similar. It's funny you mentioned that because on Monday I wrote down, I'm a religious person. And I wrote down, when I look at God, I want to kneel. But instead of bowing my head, I want to look him in the eyes and say, I did everything I did. I wanna have the confidence in myself to say,
Yeah.
like, I did everything I wanted to do in this life, as opposed to bowing my head ashamed.
Hmm.
And when I wrote that down, dude, like, just full
Yeah.
energy, full body chills of like, "Okay, what am I gonna do to make that happen then?" Because right now, I say I'm a child of God, but dude, I'm a freaking baby of God. Child isn't even like, I that's not even the right word to describe where I'm at if I truly believe I am a literal offspring of almighty being. And if that's the case, I'm not like my 6-year-old. My 6-year-old's a child. She comprehends and understands stuff in our home. I'm like a baby of understanding the magnitude of what's actually possible in this life.
Yeah. We're still in those diapers trying to graduate to toddler stage.
Dude, still poop in the bed, bro.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's the rant, man. A little bit different podcast. Devin, I just want to be very vulnerable bringing it to you before 2024. Give yourself the time, give yourself the permission, figure it out. Like, sit down. Don't just say, oh, I can't do this because of time. Time is non existent as far as what I'm noticing now. It's what are you prioritizing that may not even make freaking sense anymore for you, and being okay to let it go. It's time and season. The time for the new version of you is now. So with that being said, just want to say thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas holiday season and a wonderful week. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Mogul Mentality Podcast. We hope you found today's episode helpful and inspiring. If you enjoyed the show, please consider sharing it with your friends and leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps us to reach more listeners and create more content that can help you on your journey to becoming a successful entrepreneur. We appreciate your feedback and suggestions for future topics, so don't hesitate to reach out to us on social media or via email. Remember, developing a mogul mentality takes hard work and dedication, but with the right mindset and strategies, anything is possible. So keep grinding, stay focused, and we'll see you on the next episode.